Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. I'm your host, Rashid, and we're waiting for Gregory Mannarino to join us on the most powerful platform for truth anywhere on God's green earth. This is your platform for education, elevation, and edification. This is the Red Pill Diaries. I'm your host, Rashid, once again, and we're going to get into it while we wait for Greg. I want to just inform everybody. I was a little late starting the show. It wasn't my fault. We were trying to start the show. It was kicking us off every time we got into the studio. I don't think this was YouTube's fault, though. I think this was StreamYard this time. Every time we tried, it would stop us from playing the intro song, stop us from going live. So there's a lot going on. It's a lot to unpack with this world collapsing quickly. You know, I'm hoping that Gregory can access the link. If not, hopefully he'll join us soon. I'm monitoring my email or whatever to see if he's joining or whatever. But there's a lot to unpack that is going on in the world today, and I want to share a few things with you all. Specifically, if over here on these dashboard, on these are new computers, right? I've used these, never had a problem with them. Today, I'm doing the show. They keep rebooting. They keep rebooting. The computer's here. They keep rebooting. Why is that? They just started doing it right when we started going live. So, and my son, the tech guy, is trying to check it out. That's not normal. I don't know why this is going on. So, I'm gonna put a few thoughts out there about what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in the financial world, what's going on with the Ukraine-Russia conflict, and I'm going to share a little information about what's going on with me, okay? Tomorrow, join us also on the Red Pill Diaries. We'll be doing a show. Part of it will be broadcast on all of the platforms. The latter half of it will be on Patreon. If you join Patreon, join as a free member, you'll be able to watch the entire thing on Patreon, okay? Join as a free member. So we'll be doing the whole thing tomorrow, I think at noon. That's noon Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. So please join us on that. Okay, now, I noticed that when I declined an offer that was given to me by someone, quote unquote, posing as the Illuminati. You know, I keep a paper trail. That things started to look iffy. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been every time I go to my car. See, this is what I'm saying. I want to show you something, okay? And it's connected right to the censorship, the government in its feeling, and all of this other stuff. Now you can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, okay? You can dismiss what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you what's happening. All right. So I noticed my phones are starting to act up a lot, and I noticed my phones are dialing without me, picking the phones up. And I know people are calling me and say, "Hello, did someone call me from this number?" I know all of that. Also, I know that people are calling me out the blue, just saying crazy things on the phone. But for the past 2 weeks, I've had, every time I get in my car, I've had a flat tire. I go and get another tire. Within a day or two, then the other tire on the opposite side is flat. Now, I want you to understand something. I have a half-acre of land. I own it by the grace of God. And at night, we lock our gates, okay? Every day, my tire is flat. I was going up, I had my brother in the car, and we were riding, and it was a lot of traffic, and the car was shaking a little bit. I'm like, what in the world is this? I told my brother, I said, check out the door, open the door for me. And he was like, no, the back tire looks a little bit okay. It was the front tire, so we had to go and buy a brand new tire for the front tire, right? And it just so happened, God is good all the time, that it was a girl behind me. And she followed me over to the gas station, and she offered to pay for my air. And I was like, no, I'm good. I appreciate it. And she worked at a tire shop, so she called them ahead of time. So we were able to put air in the tire and make it right up the street or whatever, get a new tire. my tire's like that again. My wife's car is messed up. I go to drop my brother off. The spark plug wires are torn, and the spark plugs are broken in there. All right. Out of the blue, this is happening. We have good cars, warranties, and everything. So all of this is happening after the rejection of an offer that was presented to me. Right? Because you can't buy my soul with money. You can't buy my soul with gifts, with pats on the back. You can't do any of that. None of it. I'm not that type of person. I've been broke before. And if I'm broke again, God forbid, if I'm broke again, I'm still going to be the same person. So finances, materialistic stuff, they don't draw me. And I believe this has been because there's other incidents that are happening that I won't go into that are happening to my family right now. Other incidents that are just crazy. All right. So now relate that to the censorship and the threats that are going on by these lunatic people in power. Relate that to the grandstand of them deplatforming Larry Johnson on YouTube, suspending me live on the air, deleting Scott Ritter's channel, deleting my channel, then putting it up. As a matter of fact, I took a picture of what they said my channel was. Let me see if I can pull this up. Because we're going to talk about economics. We tie all of this in with the economics, the geopolitics, the politics, okay? And hopefully Greg will join us. But if he doesn't join us, there's something wrong with the link. And then we'll know that all of these things are happening out of our control, and we'll have them on another day. You know how we do it. If they bother the link one day, we'll get them right back on the other in another time, okay? Let's see something. I want to show you guys something. Where is it? Where is it? Let me go. Because I took another picture of it. How you doing, baby? That was my daughter. All right, yeah, I took a picture of it. So here on YouTube, this is what they said about my channel one time. When they removed one of my videos, I mean, it wasn't even a video. I think it was a little clip that I got from a newspaper. It says, "Hide the Red Pill Diaries." Now I'm reading this from my phone so that you'll see. Oh man, it blocks it. I'm trying to get it right where you can see it. All right. So you'll know I'm reading now. I'm telling you the truth, okay? It says, "Hi, the Red Pill Diaries. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates listen to this part, our violent criminal organization policy." That's what they said about our violent criminal organization policy. Where have I advocated violence? Where have I shown any criminality? Huh? But my content violates their policy of violent criminal organization. That's crazy, right? Maybe that'll go to why they keep taking subscribers and suppressing the channel. Why they keep taking me out of the search engine, not sending notifications to some of the subscribers and unsubscribing people. See, I'm showing you these things, the price you have to pay to teach the truth and to get the truth. You offend a lot of people, a lot of powers, because they're so into their feelings and they think that every cry is against them. That's why they have the harsh. Now think about this. America claims to be the freest nation on the planet. Yet you have no right to question the legitimacy of the vaccines from that virus. You can't hardly even mention the virus's name unless you're mentioning it in a pro stance with the government's position. You cannot be truthful about the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. you get censored, banned, or become a criminal violent organization or violent criminal organization. You can question the legitimacy of President Vladimir Putin, who won with almost 90% of the votes. And this was stated by world organizations. I think they said 88 or 89% of the vote in Russia. 88 or 89% of the vote. You cannot question America, but you can question his legitimacy. Maduro wins by 56 or 60% of the vote in Venezuela. He's a tyrant. President Assad in Syria wins at wartime with 78, I think the Carter Center said 78% of the vote. The Carter Center, the center that is run by the former President Jimmy Carter, said that he validated the elections in Venezuela and in Syria. But Assad must go, and Assad is a tyrant. You can question the legitimacy of Xi Jinping in China, who is governing 1.45 billion people. But you can't question the legitimacy of these late time turn-in paper votes, the electronic machines that whose owners have an agenda. You can't question that. I want you to think about the bizarro world here. We're living in bizarro world. They tell you that this is the home of the free, right? And that you have the legitimate right to protest. You have the legitimate rights to voice your own opinion, the freedom of the press, yet all of the press are owned by just a few corporations. And all of the corporations write legislation and give it to the people who they pay, who are supposed to represent you. And then it becomes law, and it benefits the corporations that wrote the laws to your detriment. You can't question that. You become a conspiracy theorist, a person on the outlying edges or the fringes of things. I'm showing you that this is Orwellian, or I like to say bizarro world, because you know bizarro is the upside down or the backwards Superman. He is not the normal. Here's the flip side of what Superman is supposed to represent: good and so-called freedom and all of this stuff. But he dresses up like Superman. He kind of looks like Superman. He's the opposite reflection of Superman. Aren't these policies that they enact are the opposite of what they tell you they're for? They scream about Russia detaining people. They scream about Iran detaining people. They scream about Syria detaining people. They scream about the Malian government or the Burkina Faso government detaining people. And yet America has Guantanamo Bay. What about Abu Ghraib? What about the Patriot Act, which allows the government to come in and arrest you and not even levy charges and keep you? That's still legitimate. Understand what is being said to you and understand what people are doing. The misinformation, these people are, I often say these people are lunatics, okay? They are absolute lunatics. And they are for absolute power. What do they say? Power corrupts, right? And absolute power corrupts absolutely. These are the people who were geeks, who were made fun of in junior high school, and maybe even college. They have a purpose. They go into government and they enact policies, right, that are aimed against people who laughed at them, who were the popular kids. These people are still in their feelings, hurt, mad, angry. And they want to exercise the power that they were lacking in junior high school, and college. And now they're pushing the world to the brink of thermonuclear war. And you think that the people on the street with the Dracos are the gangsters. Hell, that's peanuts compared to what the people in the suits are doing. When we talk about the rule of law and we talk about the violence on the streets, it's a mirror me back of that's coming out of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. When you see one of these unguided, brainwashed kids running out there with a Draco or with a semi-automatic weapon and not caring about the lives around the people that they're trying to shoot. Look at America's policies around the world. Look at what she's allowing and what she's helping to be done in Palestine. Look at what she's trying to do in Northern Africa. Look at how she's trying to assassinate and over again the Venezuelan leader. Look at what she did and allowed to be done in Iran, whether it's from General Soleimani or upwards to what happened to the ambassador of Iran in Lebanon. So what you see on the streets of America, these little guys with no power and they're jumping out cars with Dracos and semi-automatics, it's a reflection of what they see. They are enticed by the air of power, of being able to take someone's life or to get rid of somebody that they deem as a nemesis. That's exactly what is being done in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but on a larger scale where it affects the lives of the entire globe. So those are the true gangsters. Those are the true criminals. There is no rule of law with them. How in the hell can it be a rule of law when you can go to sleep at night after ordering a drone strike on a family or a wedding? Huh? Where's the rule of law? Where's the accountability? We always demand accountability for everybody but ourselves. And when it comes back to us, we always point somewhere else. Always. Oh, we did. You could never think we did this on purpose. Okay, one time it's not on purpose. Maybe twice it's not on purpose. Maybe even 3 times it's not on purpose. But when you start looking around of the landscape and you start looking at the bodies, you start looking at the destruction, start looking at the misery, start looking at the trail of blood that you leave behind, that's on purpose. That's on purpose. You understand? So the policies that we see being enacted by America, the policies that we see that are enacted by the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization, NATO, that's on purpose. Make no mistake about this. Their policies have been planned for decades. And they have been sliding into effect by degrees so that the people could not perceive it. This is something else. Let me see something. And all while this is going on. Oh, man, hold on 1 second. This thing is still. Oh, man. I'm going to have to, I don't know what happened to this while we were going live. I don't know what happened to the 2 monitors or whatever, but they went out. They're on, but they're not getting any internet connection. And we got excellent internet here. We even have backup internet. So, do you not think that America must be brought to justice? See, I'm gonna lay some stuff down to you, okay? Shout out to Max Spark in the building. Shout out to Joel Bradford. Shout out to Perseverance Chameleon. Yeah, shout out to Zinya. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you. Right. Shout out. I gotta say this. If there's a law of justice, and there is, and if America, the leaders truly believed in what they claim to be, you know, they claim to be Christians, well, their brand of Christianity is crazy as hell. I didn't say Christianity, I said their brand, right? Where they push it aside and go slaughter people and come back and sit down and like nothing ever happened. I asked them, would Jesus do that? Nope. So how in the hell can you be following him? Right? So look, you see China as a threat. And let's be blunt. The reason China is a threat to you is because it is a non-white, non-Western nation that refuses to bow to and cow to your demands and dictates. If China bowed to you, if China allowed you to dictate to them, they wouldn't be looked at as a threat, especially if they were not Asian. But because they are non-white, non-Western nations, China is the most imminent threat, they say. Even more so than Russia. How in the hell can that be? I want to ask you this. Let's think rationally for a second. If Russia is the largest nuclear power on the planet, right? And Russia is the largest nation on the planet. And Russia has some of the biggest reserves of natural resources on the planet. How could China be the most pressing threat? Do you ever ask yourself that? Because China now has the military clout along with the economic clout and the political clout to challenge America's rule. That's why. See, Russia doesn't, as of yet, have the economic clout fully to displace America as a global power or global hegemon. She has the military to do it. She has the political clout to do it. But she's lacking that last ingredient, which is the economic clout. China has all three of them. What we call what the United States calls it the triad when it talks about the nuclear arsenal. Well, China has the triad to displace America. And this is why she becomes a threat. I was reading an article the other day, and the article says, I believe it was if I'm not, what's the name? It was either Bloomberg or it was National Interest. One of those two. You know, the pro-American, pro-government, pro-hegemon articles that they put out. And they were saying that the United States must, and I'm paraphrasing, the United States must ante up and find a way to prevent China from challenging its dominant role in Asia. And it talks about how China is becoming a threat because it is now backing its military, its economics with its military to challenge America's dominance in the global international order. That says it all. You understand what I'm saying? That says it all. They are fearful of the displacement of them being the hegemon, not international order. Because the order, the so-called rules-based order, is predicated on America dominating. It's predicated on England having a say. It's predicated on France being involved. It's predicated on the Western world being in a position of dominance. And the entire world is sick of it. And they're moving outside of the so-called rules-based order into a real international order where even the smallest of the small nations have a voice. And this is unacceptable to America, and this is unacceptable to the West. Why? Because they pillage, rob, and rape nations. That's how they sustain the empire. And how can they rob? How can a thief rob a person that is well armed mentally? Like when I say well armed, you know, if a person goes into a house and the lights are on and you have a whole family that's well armed with weapons, right? How can America, England, and the West rob the world when they're well armed with the knowledge, with an alliance of trade outside of the dollar, and some having defense pacts? How is that possible for them to rob them then? So the thief is getting mad that the victim no longer wants to be victimized, and the victim is now standing up saying, "The hell with this. No, enough is enough." This is why they see a problem. Have you ever noticed that it is the European Union and the United States always talking about China's move to Africa and how China is setting debt traps for the African nations and Latin American nations, right? And they're trying to colonize Africa and colonize Latin America. The very nations that have illegal military posts there, the very nations that stole trillions of dollars out of Africa, not trillions, hundreds of trillions of dollars out of Africa and Latin America and Asia, are talking about somebody colonizing somebody. How does that make sense? Tell me. Tell me, where does that make sense at? In bizarro world, with lunatic people, the berserkers. Max Spark, M Spark says, he says, white rules based disorder. Yeah, U.S. and Euro. Let's see. Let me go back up here. My guy Zen y'all says, shout out to you. Perseverance Chameleon says, salute Rashid, salute to you. M Spark says, salute my brother, salute. They can't handle the truth. They cannot handle it. Oh man, yeah. M Spark says, hell, Rashid, we're living smack dab in the belly of the Anglo beast. Rules not apply in the land of illegitimacy, ruled by the evil, diabolical children of Edom. Immoral mother. Man, them people in power crazy as hell. They are crazy as hell. Salute to Joel. I'm telling you, these people in power are crazy as hell. And I hear the pundits, some of these pundits, they always give the benefit of the doubt to America. Like I've been hearing a lot of the alternative media as they're describing what's going on in Ukraine, and they're describing the situation. They often say Zelensky is irrational. He will not come to the table regardless of what the West is trying to say. And the West is fed up with him because he keeps asking for this and asking for that. You promised him that. Why is nobody saying that? Zelensky is asking for and being speaking in front of the people about certain things and constantly comes with his hands out because you promised him that. Nobody talks about that. I told you when America in the West position collapses, they'll turn on their puppet and they'll frame it in certain ways with the media. They'll frame it in certain ways. Do you believe that Zelensky could buck up against America? Huh? I'm asking you. I'm asking each and every one of you. No. So how in the hell can he be irrational? How in the hell can he not want a peace agreement? All right. And America and Britain is trying to make him come to the table with some kind of peace agreement. Stop. Push the brakes for a minute and look at how irrational that is. That line of thinking is. Who was the one who stopped the peace agreement when Zelensky and them wanted it? Huh? It was the U.S. and the U.K. So now you're telling me that Zelensky can get out of pocket with the very people who are funding the entirety of the military and the civil service in Ukraine, who have their intelligence services embedded in their intelligence services and have their intelligence services embedded in their military and all across the fabric of that society now. You're telling me that Zelensky is preventing any dialogue on peace with Russia. You want me to believe that? Stop this. And I hear all of these alternative medias. Well, Zelensky, he's such and such and such and such. They'll always point to that, but they never point to the fact that When has America empowered a puppet and allowed the puppet to do what it wanted to do? To become a puppet with America, you got to pay a price. America gives you X, Y, and Z. The UK gives you X, Y, and Z. They hold a leash on you. That's why they embed your government and your intelligence services and their military with their people. So that if you get out of line, not only can they overthrow you, but they can execute you with assassinations. And you want me to believe that Zelensky is to hold up to the peace agreement? Huh? I hear all of the pundits in mainstream and in alternative media talking about it. He is to hold up to peace. He's so irrational. He doesn't want this. He's not listening to this and not listening to that. And America's still funding him. Stop this madness right now. Stop it. And for these people to be saying this, they are either ignorant or have an agenda. Matter of fact, let me play an old clip for you real quick. Okay? Let me go up here. Let me see if it's still up on my dashboard. All right? And we're going to see if what I'm saying is wrong. Let's see if it's still up here. All right. Check this out. This is 2 minutes. We'll be right back after this. And while we're doing this, I'm going to try to hit up Greg. All right? Here we go.
Douglas McGregor, who joins us now. Sir, what's the strategy?
What you're seeing is that the Russians have now driven what is left of the Ukrainian forces, who are taking refuge in population centers, cities, because they have no mobility, no air defense, no air cover, no logistical infrastructure. They are now mingling with the population, much as we've seen in the Middle East. Whenever we drove the Islamists out of business, they ran into cities, used people as shields, the civilian population, and tried to avoid being annihilated. Russian forces, I think, frankly, were too gentle. They've now corrected that. So I would say another 10 days, this should be completely over. But the question is, what is it that Zelensky is going to do? The Russians have made it very clear what they want is a neutral Ukraine. This could have ended days ago if he accepted that. And then they can adjust the borders. But the eastern part of Ukraine is firmly in Russian hands. But again, the Russians are not seizing territory. They're destroying Ukrainian forces. That's their focus.
Colonel, it sounds like you don't approve of Zelensky's stand.
Oh, I think Zelensky is a puppet. And he is putting huge numbers of his own population at unnecessary risk. And quite frankly, most of what comes out of Ukraine is debunked as lies within 24 to 48 hours. The notions of taking and retaking airfields, all of this is nonsense. It hasn't happened.
He's not a hero when he's standing up for himself and his own people? You don't think he's a hero?
No, I do not. I don't see anything heroic about the man. And I think the most heroic thing that he can do right now is to come to terms with reality. Neutralize Ukraine. This is not a bad thing. A neutral Ukraine would be good for us as well as for Russia. It would create the buffer that, frankly, both sides want. But he's, I think, being told to hang on and try to drag this out, which is tragic for the people that have to live through this.
Let us get an understanding of what Colonel McGregor said. He said, I think Zelensky is a puppet, right? According to the dictionary, see, we're going to add relevance to this. We're going to use definitions so that we can get a clear understanding of what he's saying, okay? According to the dictionary, Google's dictionary, the meaning of puppet is a noun. It is a movable model of a person or animal that is used in entertainment and is typically moved by either strings controlled from above or by a hand inside it. So if he is a puppet, which he is, the moves that he's making are not his own moves because he's an inanimate political object. The policies that he enact, the words that he speaks, the way that he presents himself is controlled by a hand behind him or strings. Someone is pulling the strings. So if we have that understanding, then how in the hell can any alternative media personality say Zelensky is to hold up to the peace process? Zelensky is out of pocket. Am I defending Zelensky? No. I'm defending the truth. Because these people like to throw curveballs to you all. And they understand that if they throw the curveball slightly, you won't see it being a curveball, and you'll swing at it and you get a strike. And they can move on. There is no way this man is implementing policies. America is funding them. Huh? America is funding the entirety of the Ukrainian budget. And you telling me that this man is the one who is implementing the policies? All right, yeah. If you believe that, come to my house, bring your wallets, your checkbooks, and bags of dough. And I got golden eggs in my yard under my chickens, and I'm going to sell each one of them for $140,000, okay? Come on. I'm telling you, don't believe this crap that they're spewing to you. Have you noticed that lately? That almost all of the alternative media, Zelensky this and Zelensky that. Well, why won't you tell the people who controls Zelensky and who funds Zelensky and who is training Zelensky, who is protecting? Hell, how is he able to affect policy independent when he has British special forces guarding him? They are guarding him. Man, hold on, let me stop for a minute. They have British and U.S. special forces guarding him. They have U.S. and British intelligence in the intelligence agencies. They have British and U.S. Agents in the military. They have British and U.S. agents controlling the media. They have the U.S. funding Ukraine. They have the U.S., Britain, and NATO giving them the weapons. They have the U.S. feeding real-time intelligence. And Zelensky is to hold up. Huh? Zelensky is making the policy. He is refusing peace. He is refusing. The U.S. and Britain really wants. It's time to start thinking about peace. But Zelensky he's stubborn and bullheaded. Stop this. Stop looking at your audiences for a paycheck. Stop playing them for fools and stop disrespecting their intelligence. I ask you that a little. If what I'm saying makes more sense to you than what they're saying, when has America ever put a person in power, ever embedded its intelligence services in their nation, in their government, ever funded the entirety of the military and the social budgets, and then allowed for that leader to buck up against the dictates of America? When has that happened? Never. And if it has never happened, why would you think it's happening now? I'm asking this. Just like this stuff about this assassin, this would-be assassin for Mr. Trump. And I stayed away from commenting on this because I really, really dislike Joe Biden so much and Kamala Harris so much. All right, I really do. But now I want to ask you something, because you know I'm a straight shooter, and I tell you, when I give my my theory or when I give my thoughts, those are just my thoughts. When I give you facts, those are facts. Okay, so right now, I want to offer you my thoughts, not substantial facts, but my thoughts on this matter. When you have an investigation, what you have are detectives. They have a board, and they look at these criteria to come up with a suspect: motive, opportunity, and who benefits the most. Right? Those three. Right? Those three. right? Now, when we look at the situation, none of it made sense. My thing was, hey, could you close that door? Thank you. And my office door came open. I'm sorry. And there's a TV on. You'll hear it now. There's a TV on in the den area, right outside my office. Could you close it? Thank you, baby. I really appreciate that. So this theory about this shooter, right? Now, it happened on Trump's golf course. They say this guy was in the bushes, right? Something didn't feel right about this. How would this guy know Trump would be on the golf course? Because this was Trump's golf course. And not only does Trump have special services as security, he has security on his golf course. Right? All right. Now, protocol is to sweep the entire, when a president or vice president comes through, you sweep the entire area. Look for soft points, look for hard points, look for weak points, look for strong points. And you are positioning people at the weakest points, right? According to the protocol, right? Listen to what I'm saying. So now you have a team of security from the golf course that did not do their job. You have the presidential security detail that didn't do their job. But this was on Trump's golf course, and Trump makes the schedule of when he comes there. Listen to me good. I'm going to advance something to you, and I might piss a lot of people off with this. All right. But I'm not saying this is what happened. Let me be clear about this. I'm saying, but this is a way to look at this that nobody else, because you got to look at when a detective looks, he looks at what's possible, what's probable, and sometimes he has to look on the outer fringes of that. Okay. So now this guy is in the bushes or in the water or near the water after 2 sweeps. What you telling me? Is the media telling me that he just stayed there for weeks and months, just hoping Trump would pull up at his golf course? Huh? And how would he be able to evade the security there for weeks and months? And if he was not there weeks and months, somebody let him in, right? And if they let him in, let's see who benefits the most. Does Joe Biden benefit from this? No. Why? Because there was a recent shooting at Trump, right? There was a recent shooting of Trump, and he and his crew were blamed for it. So why would he allow that to happen again, knowing that he would be blamed for it or his crew would be blamed for it? But I do know that this happened, and the so-called poll said that Trump was down, right? And this put life behind him, and his poll numbers went up, and it galvanized his base. And the shooting that is supposedly had occurred away from Trump. Convenient? And why is it that this guy was taken in, but the guy that Biden was accused of sending or allowing to infiltrate the other one was killed on the spot? And Trump's presidential campaign had started kicking in the gear after this, and more media coverage, and everybody started saying the deep state. Listen to me good. When we talk about the deep state has their hand in both of them guys, okay? So what happened? I'm saying put those facts there. Those are facts that I'm telling you. I'm offering you my perspective on it. Does it make sense for Biden to do it twice? Or when your campaign is floundering a little bit and sputtering a little bit, and you need a little kick Something like that is organized. Let's look at the whole situation now. Go look at it. The guy that really tried to kill Trump was killed. The guy who was let on Trump's golf course was not. The shooting for the guy who got killed nearly killed Trump. The guy who was taken alive and arrested, shot, his shots were nowhere near Trump. And all you had was sensationalization of they're trying to kill Trump. Doesn't that build him up as a hero? I'm asking. I'm not saying that this is what I'm advocating another school of thought, a school that some people thought but did not have the cojones to say because they're scared of offending people. But I'm going to tell you, I don't care if you get mad. I would like for you not to get mad, but hell, I've been growing a long time. And I'm going to say what I say. That's one thing about me and my brothers and my sisters. And we have to watch what we say to each other because we're so straightforward. That's how we do. That's what we got it from our mom and our pops. To be straightforward. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell it. Some people will like it. Some people won't. You can't please everybody. But let people know that it's coming from a good place. All right? Let me go to the thing real quick. Hold on one second. Let me see something. That's right. I was looking in the comment section. I'm sorry. I see what Joel Bradford put up there. Joel Bradford is off the chain. Oh man. Rick James. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. For those of you who don't know what he's making reference to, the Chappelle show. Okay. That's what he's making reference to. Anyway, so I want you to think about what I've said and see if what I say spark any thought in you. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that you can't just be so one-minded that you forget about everything because that's what they want you to do. Isn't that how they got away with 9/11? Huh? And anybody questioning that narrative was looked down upon. You cannot confine yourself to that box thinking. You've got to sometimes look outside the box and use common sense. Right? So we know that Biden didn't benefit from what took place, or Kamala Harris didn't benefit from because people were pointing the finger at him. So who was the biggest beneficiary? Motive? Opportunity? What was the opportunity? The opportunity to build your campaign back up. And who benefits? Because you still have no understanding of why this guy, they just started flooding. Oh, he was a Ukraine president. He was this. And Trump, he was hating against Trump because Trump would bring Ukraine to an end. That's a lie. Listen, go get your, do just some due diligent research real quick, okay? And find out who was the president who doubled the funding for Ukraine prior to the war. It wasn't Joe Biden. And I'm not, and people listen, in no way, shape, form, or fashion think I'm defending that lunatic at all. I don't like him in any shape, form, or fashion. But I'm saying, I deal with facts. It was Donald Trump's policies to double down and fund Ukraine. Go look at it. I'm not making this up, just like I tell people to look at what Obama did. And I definitely don't like that dude. So how can the person who doubled the funding, doubled the training programs, and help to transfer a lot of weapons to Ukraine be the one that says, hey, war is not good. No. Well, then if you know war is not good, then what the hell did you double the payments for them? What the hell did you double down on training for them? And what the hell did you arm them for to the teeth? Huh? You're not going to get this from anybody else because they believe that the left believes that Biden is the Kamala Harris is the savior, and the right believes that Donald Trump, if only Donald can get into power, this and this and this will happen. Okay. You keep believing that, all right. Listen to me good. The system is inherently corrupt. And let's just look over history, okay, and see if what I'm saying holds any credence. Anyway, there may have been many people that aspired to be the president or aspired to hold the office of the presidency. They had good ideas that wanted to do something good. But when they got to that office, what happened? It was a continuation of the policies of the previous, right? And it might not have been a whole continuation, but it was a continuation. Hell, we saw Bush Jr., we saw Clinton, we saw Obama, we saw Trump, and we see Biden continuing Ronald Reagan's policy in the Middle East and continuing Jimmy Carter's. Different parties, same movement. Look at this thing. You don't change the system changes you. That's why Vladimir Putin says the presidents of the United States don't run the United States. When they are elected or selected to be president, men in black suits come up to them and tell them what they're going to do and what they can't do. Why would he say that? This is the man who is the president of the largest nation on the planet, who was in the intelligence services, who served in the Cold War in Germany. Why would he say that? Why would he say that knowing that people, if he was lying, people could disprove him? Just put that out there for you. Now, back to Zelensky. Isn't it crazy that all of these people are screaming about Zelensky is holding up the peace process. Zelensky. I told you, go back to my shows. About right when it started. I was telling you that when the thing faltered and failed, this is exactly what they were going to say. And I said people were going to start buying into that, and the media would say the same thing. I didn't know that the alternative media would buy into it. What is it? Axios and this and that said, and Politico says such and such. The New York Times reveals such and such, and they give credence to this crap. Again, I ask you, when has America allowed its puppet to buck up against its policies? Hell, I want you to think about the reality of this situation. Russia is the largest nuclear power on planet Earth, and America is trying to break Russia because Russia is bucking up against its international order. They're almost risking nuclear war because Russia will not kowtow to the United States. And you're telling me some bumpkin who was an actor is able to do that? Man, stop this. Stop it. Stop it. They are bucking up and starting to impose sanctions on the largest economy in the world, their largest trade partner, their largest financer, China, because China won't bow to the U.S. dictate. And you're telling me this little actor, this little Ukrainian country bumpkin, is bucking up against the United States. I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm not the spoon or the fork or the butter knife. And listen, I may have been born at night, just not last night. You're not going to pour that foolishness over on me, man. Stop this. Treat these people with some kind of respect and stop insulting people's intelligence. I told you they don't respect your intelligence. I told you that. I told you guys that. I like this right here. I'm going to put this up. Not this one, right? But I like this too. But I like this by M. Sparks right here. Let me put this up. Democrat or Republican, different cheeks, same stanky. Man, this dude said, man, this dude say, man, what? What? Different cheeks, same booty. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. They have you guys believing that the system is okay. It's the people that run the system that is wrong. Wrong. When they built the system like this. And the system changes the politician. It's not the other way around. Look at all the rosy promises Barack Obama had before he got into office. Now show me 3 of them that he lived up to. Show me 3 of them. I'll wait. What about Joe Biden? I'll wait. What about Donald Trump? I'll wait. And the list goes on and on and on and on. For you to believe that you're going to get something different, that's insane. You vote each 4 years for the president, and then when one get in the office, you whine. You whine about not living up to their promises. You know what that reminds? That's like a Alzheimer person waking up every time they realize they forget. The next thing you know, that's how you act. Like you're suffering a mental deficit, believing that what is that saying? And I started saying this, and all of the alternative media started saying this. I started saying it, and they started saying it after me. Doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. I've been saying it since 1997, I believe it was. 96 or 97. I've been saying it a long time. I used to do radio shows too, everybody. So, listen. It is crazy the way people think that these people can get in there and change the system. Do you understand when something is corrupt, you got to go to the root? Removing a couple people here and there, that's not going to stop it. Look at how corrupt Ukraine is. We always hear about how corrupt Ukraine is. It's the most corrupt country in the world. They keep changing leaders in their parliament, in their government, and in the head of state. Has that stopped the corruption? Why? Because it's not one man. It's not one woman. It's not a couple men, and it's not a couple women. It's the system that fosters corruption. And when the people get a little taste of wealth or a little taste of power, they are beholden to other people. And then they have to continue this cycle of degradation and immorality. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The same system is in place in all of the governments in the West. Why do you think that they don't adhere to the true will of their people? Huh? It's because they're beholden to people and corporations outside of the people who put them in office or who supported them. It's the system. It's parasitic by nature. It, like Gregory Mannarino said, it must expand. It must take on debt constantly, or else the minute it stops taking on debt, it implodes. So we're looking at the collapse of an entire system, an entire world, the so-called rules-based international order. Even though it's not international, It is regional because the region that it represents is the United States, Canada, Europe, and Australia and New Zealand. These people don't even make up 1/10 of the population of the planet Earth. And they want to dominate and rule everything. I'm telling you this. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm just talking to you. Sometimes when the doctor sees that you're sick, he can't give you a pill that tastes good. Sometimes he has to give you a pill that's bitter, sour, and it'll make you when you take it. But he knows that once you take it and it gets down into your body and it dissolves and it starts working its work, it eliminates what is causing the problem, the parasite or the sickness or the ailment. But you got to take it first. You might be mad when you take it because it's bitter in your palates and it's bitter in the back of your throat. It's even bitter in your stomach for a while. But when it starts working, you say, oh man, yeah, I needed that. This is how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything with you guys. I'm going to be blunt with you guys. Unlike everybody else, I'll tell it like it is, even if I have to lose subscribers, even if I have to be deplatformed. I didn't get on here to be 7 million or 1.2 million and make a profit. Profits are good. Hopefully that'll come. I didn't get on here to make a whole penny off you guys. I got in here because I saw that something was missing in the talks, in the debates with alternative media and mainstream media. And I wanted to get in and show you, listen, you got to learn to think. The problem is that they have dumbed us down so much that we don't think. Even when we think we're thinking inside the box. Sometimes we got to step back, be quiet, look and listen, then analyze. We've got to apply mathematics. Mathematics, especially multiplication. That means take your multiplier times your multiplicand and come up with a product. Take what's around you, take what's within you, reason, and come up with a sound judgment. Math is an application of life. It's not just in books. I hope you understand. And all while this is going on, the contempt for the American people and the people here grows stronger, right? I mean, and there's a great cultural divide. There's a great political divide. There's a great economic divide. And all of this is blistering the United States. Matter of fact, let me go to something real quick while I'm talking to you all. I want to read something that came out September the 11th. Okay. Remember that the United States continues to pass these supplemental bills for Ukraine. Remember that America continues to build Ukraine's economy out, and everybody's screaming about Zelensky, he's corrupt. Before I go into this article, and I'm not a supporter of Zelensky or his greed, but America and Britain, they should pay up. They promised them this stuff to go against Russia. They promised them the world. And when things didn't go as thought, they pulled the rug from under him, and now the media, both alternative and mainstream, are making him to be the scapegoat. He's too greedy. He's after more. They said it. Just like they always play clips because of me. Yours truly. How about they played the clips when the governments were saying that they were going to give him this and they would provide Ukraine with the necessary finances and military aid to persecute and prosecute this war? Why won't they play those clips? Because it does not go along with their narrative. It doesn't go along with their narrative. Is he corrupt? Hell yeah. Is he greedy? Hell yeah. But that does not negate what America, Britain, and NATO promised him. And so he's screaming, hey, you promised me these things. And now the funding is drying up because Russia is crushing, and I mean crushing, the Ukrainian armed forces, the Western mercenaries, quote unquote, and all of the weaponry that they continue to send into Ukraine. This is expensive. This is a very expensive endeavor of empire. And just like clockwork, when the going gets tough and the puppet is unable to fulfill the pledge to the empire, they start pulling the rug from under them, slowly but surely, put the media into spin mode. And it's all Zelensky's fault. It's all Zelensky's fault. It's all Sikorsky, what is it? Sikorsky or whatever his name fault. It's not Biden. It's not Harris. It's not Austin. It's not what's the guy, the security advisor? It's not him. It's not any of them. It's not Newland. It's not none of them. It's Zelensky then. It's not Boris Yeltsin, Boris Johnson. It's not the new prime minister. It's not the other prime ministers that were involved in this. It's not the French president. It's not none of the intelligence agency's fault. It's the puppet's fault. But the puppet doesn't move without the strings being pulled. The puppet does not move. It's an inanimate object made to look lifelike, made for entertainment. Zelensky is an actor. He was made for entertainment. And if he's an actor and he was made for entertainment, then somebody is pulling the strings of the puppet. But the puppet gets all the booze, while the puppeteers start backing away slowly from the stage. That's what's going on. And both mainstream and alternative media continues to push this lie that it's all Zelensky. And you have to ask those people who are pushing those lies, what is the agenda? I know you're intelligent. I know you should know more, know better. I might have to start looking at what you say a little bit more thoroughly on other issues, because this right here does not add up. Right? So some people have to do that. But I put that out there for everybody. Look. Them sparks said Rashid cooking today. I'm just telling this stuff right here is common sense to me. I'm sorry. My mom used to always tell me, she said, your brain works so fast and so much different than other people. My mom would tell me, people that I deal with, even my wife tells me that. While people are thinking about certain things, I'll hear something and my mind will start chopping it up and dissecting it. I don't know why. I don't know why. And when I read, my mom says I got this from my father. I lay at the foot of my bed. On the floor, I have about 4 or 5 books when I'm reading, and I read from each one of them. And I remember my father used to do that too. Yeah. So I can process what I'm reading. I don't know why. But anyway, Joel says 35 trillion and counting. Wonder when people are going to wake up. Debt cannot be repaid. And listen, that's why you have these wars. The empire has no clothes. And when I say empire, I'm not just talking about America. I'm talking about Britain too, because these two nations are tied to the hip. If one gets gas, the other one farts. If one gets a cold, the other one coughs and sneezes. They are what the scriptures call the 2 daughters of Babylon. All right. They were very appealing according to that. And all of the people loved them and loved their luxury. Then one day they were cast to the ground. And it says, sit down on the ground. There is no throne for thee. You know, all of the lovers have forsaken them. We're looking at the people who had fornicated with the empire and trade. realizing that, and pardon me, that they have gotten economic venereal diseases because of the dollar. They're burning. So they need an injection of penicillin, which is the BRICS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, in the global South. That's why they're moving away from that harlot that was burning the entire world. She was enticing them with her beauty, with her shape. She was enticing them with the idea of the American dream. She was enticing them because at one time America had the best technology, the best appliances, the best products, the best everything when it comes to international trade. That's no longer the case. And people are now saying, you know what, we realize that she's not faithful. She's a whore. So now they're looking for a new lover because that lover burned them, literally and physically. I mean, so this is what's going on. This is what's going on. So let's go here. On September the 11th, and I'm just reading it. I saw the headline earlier this morning, and I don't know how it passed me, but I saw the headline. So I'm going to read it for you. It says, bankruptcies spike again as America's economic slowdown accelerates. Right? Large businesses, as a matter of fact, let me go to the article real quick instead of the little excerpt. Large businesses are declaring bankruptcy at a staggering rate. And yet we are being told over and over again that the economy is just fine. Needless to say, most of the country isn't buying it. Survey after survey has shown that most Americans believe that the economy is on the wrong track. But those that are running things continue to push their booming economy narrative anyway. And I suppose that will continue all the way through the election in November. Of course, anyone with half a brain should be able to see the truth because day after day, we just continue to get more troubling economic numbers. For example, it is being reported that U.S. corporate bankruptcies spiked during the month of August. All right? Let's go a little further. All right? U.S. bankruptcy filings spiked in August after a slowdown in July, propelling the total for the first 8 months of the year to the highest level since 2020 and second highest since 2010. S&P Global Market Intelligence said Monday. There were 452 filings in the year through the end of August, which compares with 466 in the same period in 2020, when the pandemic was still in full swing, and 604 in the same period in 2010. In August alone, the tally comes to 63, up from a revised 49 in July. That was the third highest monthly total this year, behind 72 in June and 68 in April. All right. You can see a list of corporations that filed for bankruptcy in August here. He has a list. He said it is a very long list. Matter of fact, let me click. Before I read anything else, let me click and see what it is. Whoa! Oh, man. This is huge. The list is huge. And now listen, they're filing bankruptcy, which shows the economic rot. America continues to deficit spend, which shows the corruption and ineptitude of the leadership. They defund education, right? They don't have money for healthcare. You know, the healthcare system in America is predatory. There should have been a universal healthcare, but it's too much profit to be made. That's how greedy they are. Not caring about the health or the well-being or the welfare of children, women, men, disabled, elderly. All they care about is a buck. They're not interested in curing. They just want to prolong the suffering of the lives of the people so that they can take you to the grave and make a profit off of it. Huh? So, when we look at this, everything is predatory. How is it that you care more about the security of Ukraine than you do about within your own borders? How can you, in a good conscience, pass a supplemental bill of $40 billion or $60 billion to go to Ukraine to support their private and public debt, and yet HUD said it would only take $20 billion to eradicate homelessness here in America? Huh? How could you do that in good conscience when you say that you represent the people here? How could you do that in good conscience when you could have taken that whole $40 to $60 billion and not only eradicated homelessness, but according to HUD's report, you could have eradicated homelessness and poverty across the board in the United States? So you're telling me you are not interested in the well-being of the people here, the people that elected you, or the people who supported you? You're not. That's not what you want. You're more into securing Ukraine because it's democratic, huh? While the democracy here fades away, right? Man, these people lie so much they should be rugs. They're caring about the well-being. I'm patriotic. Support the troops. All while saying support the troops, they invest in weapon systems, research and development, testing and everything. And then those troops that finally make it back home have to live with food stamps, handouts. Those who are active and retired. But you can pay Ukraine's troops. The teachers here, $30,000 and $40,000. The people who mold the lives and the brains of future leaders, $30,000, $40,000. You can't pay them $80,000, $90,000. But you can pay top-notch payments to the Ukrainian civil service. Is that not contempt to the people? Is that not contempt to the taxpayers? Not even taxpayers, because really your tax payments really don't even work. They just take that to make you believe that you're a part of it. The United States has been deficit spending so long, it's unreal. They don't respect you. They don't. Because if they did, they would not do the things that they do. My sister used to tell me this when I was a little kid, when I was a teenager, right? She said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Stop looking at a person with lustful eyes or love in their eyes, or this dream that this person is this, when every step of the way their actions are showing you that they're that. You think that they're this most beautiful and most precious person over here, and their actions are showing you that they're serial killers. When a person shows you who they are, what are you supposed to do? Believe them. All right? If you don't, you wind up the loser. Okay? So with this debt, this unpayable debt that the United States has, people say 35 trillion. That's crap. I played the clip a long time ago where it was either between 2012 and 2014, something like that. I played the clip with the professor of economics, I think from Columbia, and he does work with the government. And at that time, the U.S. economy was 7 trillion or something like that. 11 trillion. I think it was 11 trillion. And the U.S. debt was 222 trillion then. I got the clip, I played it. The U.S. debt was 222 trillion. And then from that point, we take another few years, and it was 22 trillion publicly, and it was 444 trillion privately. And now we're up to 30. We're up to 666 trillion or more. this does not include the derivatives. This does not include the derivatives. That means that the debt is unpayable. That is why America wants to hold a gun to every waterway. It's not about freedom of navigation. It's about America trying to dominate the waterways to hold a gun to the people for them to accept the dollar and commerce and trade. Because that is the only way that she can fund her runaway debt. That is the only way that she can fund her empire. That's why she's in every war. Look at Venezuela. Who tried to assassinate the president there? Look at Bolivia. Who tried to overthrow the government there? Look at Honduras. Who overthrew the government there? All right. Look at Cuba. Who is trying to inundate Cuba with mercenaries? Look all across Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. Who is destabilizing those countries? Look at the Middle East, Palestine, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and now over to Iran. Who's that? Look in the Caucasus, Romania, Moldova, Georgia, Ukraine. Who's that? Look over to the South China Sea in Asia. Who tried to overthrow the monarchy in Thailand? Who is threatening the little small Solomon Islands and those islands around? Who is using the Philippines as a battering ram against China? Huh? I'm not making any of this stuff up. It's the empire. And this empire needs a host body to live. I call the American British Empire, the British American Empire, Nosferatu. You know, that's the name of Count Dracula. Why do I call it Count Dracula? Because by nature, Count Dracula was a parasite. And for him to exist, for him to live, he had to live in darkness, right? He can exist in daylight. That's why you got the census. So America and Britain, they have to censor, they have to lie, they have to skew the truth. That's darkness. Because if you bring them out to the light and show them, they will look at, the world will look at their true nature and poof, their power disappears. And they must latch into the neck, the jugular vein of other nations to suck off and siphon the life's blood of those nations, to keep those nations dead in poverty, to sustain the livelihood of the Western Empire. Parasitic. Nosferatu. Count Dracula. Is that not right? You know I'm telling you guys the truth. I didn't make any of this stuff up. Listen, I had a good time. I'm going to go call Gregory, see what's up, and we'll try to get him back on. Evidently, something went wrong. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on the most powerful platform for truth anywhere on God's green earth. But I want to say this. Join us tomorrow on any of the platforms, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, because we're on BitChute now again. My son just set it up. We're on BitChute too. Locals, join us on all of those, Twitter. But we're going to be streaming tomorrow. But if you want to see the entirety, we may do an hour and a half stream. And part of that, half of that will be on all of those platforms. But if you want to see it all, go to the Patreon. And so you can subscribe as a free member. And we're going to try to, if everything works, we're going to try to stream the entire thing there. So once it ends on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey, you can come on over to Patreon, the Red Pill, patreon.com/the Red Pill Diaries, and join us and continue watching it. Okay. On that note, hold on, I got something in the chat. All right, everybody. On that note, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this platform, for giving me your time. I'm humbled by it. I'm sorry that Greg couldn't make it or something went down. He'll probably contact me, but I'm going to try to contact him in just a few minutes. Know that I love each and every one of you who loves truth, but know that the truth I have for you will always pale in comparison to the truth that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. And remember, do right by others, not because other people are watching, but because it's the right thing to do. And God is always watching. He sits high, as my mom always says, but he looks low. So I hope I've done a good service to my mama. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Thank you, everybody. Deuces. We're out of here. Peace.